Hey, my name's Joel. Welcome back to the Traveler Toolkit. In today's video, we're talking about a product that I believe will enhance any and every camping trip you take this year, whether you're an RVer, a tent camper, somebody who likes to rooftop tent camp, or maybe sleep in a van. Whatever it is, you can take this product with you, and it gives you vital access to some ambiance through something that every camping trip needs: fire. That's right. If it feels like most of our videos always come back to fire, that's because there are a few things in life as wonderful as assembling yourself with friends or family around a flame. And so we're constantly looking for ways to get access to that flame in convenient and fun ways. And today's product is no exception. This is the Iron Stove from Winnerwell. And when I saw this, I absolutely had to reach out and say, hey, can you send one of those over so we can test it on the channel? Thanks to Winnerwell for doing that. The Iron Stove truly is a work of art. It's called iron because it is made of cast iron and brass accents around. You'll see it is beautifully crafted, thoughtfully put together. It's got nice inlays in the cast iron tank down below. It's got a grate up top. It's got a viewing window on both sides. And basically this is the setup of what I would call an old school lamp. It's got a basin of oil down here below. It's got a wick in the middle. So if we turn it sideways and open it up, you'll see there's a wick here that is controlled by this brass knob. You can raise and lower the wick, and when the flame is lit, that controls the level of flame and level of heat that it's giving off. So that wick is then dipping down into the oil and allowing the flame to continue to burn. And this says that you can, depending on the flame height, get up to 5 hours of burn time on one tank. This is a 20-ounce tank, and they recommend using paraffin oil. Here's the bottle that I bought off Amazon. I'll leave a link for it below if you want to check it out. But paraffin oil burns clean. If you're going to do any cooking on top of this, it's safe. This is the preferred type of burning oil, lamp oil, that you want to use in the Iron Stove. And this is not a twist-off cap. This is kind of a friction cap. You'll see it's got a nice little gasket here that makes sure that it stays snug. At first I wondered why they wouldn't put a twist-on cap there, because I thought, what if the stove falls over in transit? And the reality is the hole where the wick goes down into the tank is an open hole. It's not airtight. So no matter what kind of cap you have here, you're always going to have an area where oil could spill out. So realize that in transit and in use, the Iron Stove needs to maintain verticality, straight up and down. So to get things started, fill it with up to 20 ounces of oil. Then there's a little button right along the back here, a nice little brass kind of squeeze button. It's a really cool mechanism. I like that. And you simply tilt this up almost 45 degrees over, not quite. Then you grab a lighter and you just want to simply light the center of the wick. And you may be tempted to kind of run it across the wick. There's really no need to, because as you'll see, this flame just kind of spreads from side to side. You really want to make sure that your flame is low when you're getting it started, almost all the way down here. Then when you feel like it's completed, you can tilt this back over, make sure you're locking it in place, and you got your flame right inside here. And this brass turn here on the side of the stove is what controls the height. And you can fill this entire stove with flame. It goes quite high to where even you see the flame is out the top. I wouldn't recommend that. That's a pretty dirty burn. It's a long wick. It's not efficient. You're not going to get the most out of your oil. But realize that if you're cooking on top of this, which we'll talk about in just a minute, you may want more flame for more temperature. So that's the way you would control not just the look of the flame, but your temperature. And it is a beautiful, warm, wide flame. You know, the old school lamps, if you've ever seen those, that have a lamp oil reservoir on the bottom and then a wick just like this, only the wick is, I don't know, 6 inches wide. I didn't look up exactly how wide it is, but it's a nice wide wick which gives you enough fire to fill this entire viewfinder across the front. And you can imagine sitting this on a picnic table, sitting this on a little stool or something between some chairs in the dark evening. There is heat that comes off of this. This is a real flame, so just putting my hand here, this is hot, and this griddle up top will get hot, so don't place your hand on there. But putting your hand over top obviously gets really hot because you can cook things over top of this, but it is a really warm and inviting flame, and it's a quick, easy, efficient way to get a flame in a campsite. You don't need wood, you don't need propane. All you need is some lamp oil and this iron stove, and you've got an instant fire to gather around, whether for 5 minutes or 5 hours for the tank capacity. Hey, if you're enjoying this video, please consider subscribing to the Traveler Toolkit community. It's completely free, and if you click the bell after you hit subscribe, well, you'll be notified every time I put out a new video, and we have tons of great new videos about great camping and RVing products like this coming out every single week. You don't want to miss a thing. All right, now let's talk about an interesting idea, and that is the fact that you can cook on the iron stove. That was not something I was prepared to see, and I was really shocked at how much heat does come off the top here, even with this low flame. Putting my hand here, I can't hold it there for more than a couple seconds because it would burn me. So they also have a griddle top that goes right here on top of this beautiful, I would call it a grate on top here. And it's a cast iron griddle that you can cook steaks or hot dogs or hamburgers on top of. So why don't we put it to the test? Let's cook something on top of this, see how efficient and quick it is, because even though this is more beautiful than a barbecue, if it functions like a small barbecue, you could cook for a couple people on this stove very efficiently, and it's a really compact way to get something to a campsite that you can cook with. All right, so here's what their custom griddle looks like. It's got grooves on the front. Obviously, that's for traditional steak or something like that. Then it's got a flat back, which I don't think it's quite big enough to do scrambled eggs on. Maybe one egg. You could have one of those little silicone circular tools that you throw an egg in so it doesn't run off the edges. My wife uses those to make egg sandwiches and things like that. But you could use this flat side for something like that if you wanted to, but it's not very large. It just simply goes across the top of the stove here, and it comes with this handy tool here, which I believe is also a bottle opener, but it's got this notch on the side that you can use to go in the hole on the grate, and then you can simply pick it up, keeping it level. You can pick up the griddle, move it maybe off to the edge, set something down to cool, you're done cooking, want to take it off. Remember, if you set it here for 10 minutes and cook with it, you're going to have a hot griddle on your hands, so don't go pick that up with your bare hands. And then we can control our temperature for the heat on here. So even though it's still quite cold here in Ohio, I thought I'd wait for a nice day and take one of the great camping staples, a couple hot dogs out there, to see how well it did on the iron stove. And I gotta say, the iron stove performed well inside my warehouse, but really struggled out in the February breezy weather. It was about 25-30 degrees when I was outside. Not sure if that made as much of a difference as the slight breeze did. The first day I had a lot of trouble, had breezes. I checked the weather app between 5 and 7 miles an hour, thought it was too windy. Then I came back the next day when breezes were only up to 3 miles an hour and still had some trouble with getting the griddle on the top up to a good temperature. It still cooked, but it took longer. So I think this is going to perform best when there's almost no wind, because it's really affected by the wind. You'll kind of see the black soot forming here just from the flame being blown into the sides here, but it certainly did affect my ability to keep heat on the griddle. But you'll see, quick and easy to throw a few dogs on top. You could handle a couple more if you wanted to, and that was my experience cooking outside, and me and my dog really enjoyed these hot dogs. Now, one thing I was concerned about when I saw the iron stove was that it might be too delicate to bang around, throw in the back of a truck, put with your camping gear. It could get broken, but then I saw that they also had a really well-made carry bag that comes with it. So you throw it in this carry bag. It's got padded slots, a slot for your griddle, a slot for your stove, a slot for maybe some extra oil on the side, some extra wicks, whatever it is. But that bag, I believe, is going to keep it safe wherever you're taking it. But I would still be careful with this stove inside the bag, because after all, you don't want to bang around something that looks this nice. You want to keep it looking nice so you can use it for years to come, because this is made in the old ways and it will stand the test of time. Well, there you have it. That's the Iron Stove from Winnerwell. I'll leave a link in the description below so you can check it out for yourself. And if you're interested in more RVing and camping gear like this, then make sure you subscribe, because we have new videos coming out every week as the season is starting, and everything is going to be exciting coming up. Trust me, you don't want to miss it. As always, my name is Joel. This is the Traveler Toolkit, and I'll see you in the next video.